Under the bell.
Under
All
the
right,
bell.
Let's talk the real about the elephant in the room right now. What are we gonna do for all of quarter 1 when there's no Darknet Diaries?
Hey,
What?
that's one of
There's
our
no-
topics. We're giving it away.
Okay, it's the okay. I'll wait then. You didn't see
Corey,
that, Ralph?
No, I haven't. Corey, are you frozen or are you just like look dead?
No, I'm just very quietly adjusting my mic settings so I don't sound like I'm a potato.
I'm
He's
a potato.
concentrating.
I will say, what are we going to do when there's no Darknet Diaries and we're just not going to know anything about emerging
Yeah,
threats?
I'm gonna have nothing to listen to as I go running or
what,
walk.
you
the
said
You
he's
dog.
listen to
taking
Darknet Diaries while you're running?
Yeah, dude, I completely zone out into the I've probably almost been hit by a car several times because I'm too heavily paying attention to the podcast.
You know the dangers of your activities, point.
You're like, I may be slow running, but I'm not going to jail for hacking IRC or whatever.
Yeah.
He may be slow running, but he's cool running.
Ooh.
No, that's a different sport.
That's bobsledding.
Yeah.
Bobsledding, yes. That's a Florida original sport there. Mainly down here in Florida.
To Florida, what?
Original
Crackling
sport,
for me. I don't know if
bobsledding?
it's anyone else.
Bobsledding was I'm sure bobsledding made in Florida. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure bobsledding is just how they get around in Norway and Finland.
There's some actual good geopolitical news in this week, which I love. Yeah.
What? Are you trying to tell us that we should start the show?
Are you telling us to start the
No,
show,
but I'm
Wade?
just saying. Usually, we go over. Sometimes the news is really. Sometimes we're scraping the bottom of the barrel for news.
No. Topic 1 is always, is John coming? What's the weather? 25% chance of John with showers.
I think the chances are low, given that he's teaching again this week.
Yeah, I've made a Grafana dashboard that just shows whether John's going to show up for the show or not. I'm going to share the URL at some point. So
It's a forecast. Yeah. What's the 14-day looking like?
Has anybody put
holidays?
Has anybody put John in one of those AI picture creators yet? I'm surprised.
I have.
We have a company rule against that.
Dude, I would. I got it done to me without my knowledge. I woke up and my wife's like, "Check out these cool photos I got of you," and I was like, "Where did you get these?" She's like, I uploaded a bunch of your selfies, and now I have AI creations of you."
So what kills me about this recent AI
insider threat,
AI trend is that all these services are popping up that are like free. Enter in whatever you want. Guess what? This AI can write your programs for you. Maybe your new report or something. Your college. It's
dude.
Yeah. The OpenAI chat.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah, no, you can just ask for a research paper about not anyone or anything, and it'll write a pretty good one.
Yeah,
pretty good.
it's totally it'll get you a C.
It'll get you a C.
If it's not a complex one, I could easily get an A from one of those.
Yeah,
I don't know if this is just me, but Ralph's audio seems way off sync.
I agree. It looks like a movie that was recorded in a different language. Should we dub in Japanese over him?
Wow, guys. All right.
Dub an AI over him.
Let me see.
Wait. No, now it's...
Is it coming back?
Did it catch up?
I don't know. Yeah, it did. It caught up.
Oh.
Yeah, I asked the AI. I asked the AI to write me a phishing campaign. It was pretty bad. It was
bad?
Oh, really?
It was pretty. I could read the. Let me find the phishing campaign. The instructions that I gave it. Hold on. It basically was I think the instructions I gave it were write me a phishing campaign where a user is instructed to download a file. Okay, so. Here's the prompt. Write me an email phishing message instructing a user to download a file and execute it. Here's the email that it came up with. Dear valued user, we recently discovered that your account has been compromised. To protect your personal information and prevent unauthorized access, we are requesting that you download and run the attached security update as soon as possible. Please download the attached file, run it on your computer, and follow the instructions to complete the process.
That'll
if you have any questions or concerns, do not hesitate to reach out. It also says,
do not hesitate.
This content may violate our content policy. So
AI.
Can't use
feature.
AI to figure out if it's violating the content policy or not. It should be.
Yeah. So long story short, that got a
There's no
35%
lawyer AI
click
yet?
rate.
Oh, I got 35.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I would be super interested to actually write one of those, use it on a report, change the name, and see what kind of success rate it is. You know?
Oh, good. So, okay, someone asked, will the AI
Yeah,
paper
if
make it past turnin.com? I think it
Yes.
would, because it's
would,
brand
yeah.
new.
Yeah.
So I think I mean, it's been a long time since I like wrote any papers that were graded by anyone other than my clients, but
It is
basically I think those solutions, they look for plagiarism primarily, so like copy and paste from Wikipedia and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it would be like new every time what the AI would come up with, but it could reuse entire chunks of phrases, which could be bad. So
I will
know.
tell you this: getting past turnitin.com is not that hard.
Yeah.
Allegedly, I know that from experience. But
What do you
I
mean?
also
it's not
will
that
tell
hard?
you this.
Hey.
Here's another
experience
fact.
is alleged.
Yeah.
It's being tested right now. I guarantee you
Yeah.
that we will find out very shortly if it works or not.
Also, like Turnitin is the equivalent of like EDR. You can pay the service to test out yourself, so you can just see whether it's getting flagged and then what it's getting flagged on. It's like
usually the schools already have an account where you can pre-test
yes.
the essay before you turn it in. And I was
Yes.
like, oh yeah, I'll pre-test this essay. Oh yeah. And I'm like, okay, it's good. Bloop.
It's good. Yes, exactly. And
Another
they don't
essay
care
I
because
wanna cry
Turnitin gets paid either way. They don't care if they catch it. They just need to catch like the really low hanging fruit. Okay.
Even then, they don't.
All right, let's
catch
start
that
the show.
Roll the finger. I could talk about
Roll
it
the
all day for hours.
finger.
Who's hosting, Corey or Ralph?
I can host.
Flip a
this.
coin.
All right,
got
Ralph said he'll do it.
I'll do it. I'll be tribute.
All right, here we go. Rolling that finger.
Welcome to Black Hills Information Security, talking about the news. I'm your host today, Ralph May, and I am joined by an all-star cast of the most advanced cybersecurity professionals in the world, minus Corey. So Wade, who is wading through logs. Welcome to the show, Wade.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to Dusty at Deload the Tech Pro for our podcast, making his top 5 podcasts in Spotify.
Nice.
I'm
We
telling
need
you,
we need like like some kind of video for this or something where like the hands and the claps and stuff. I don't know. It was just me. Mike. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, what podcast is this?
I know. Mike, we got you as well. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining.
Always a pleasure.
Yes, we're excited to have you here. We have Ryan.
I
who
still
makes
don't know if Mike works at BHIS or not.
He does. It's a shadow job. We just
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
he's overemployed.
Overemployed.
It's over.
We have Ryan who makes us sound good and makes those like air horn noises so that we can continue.
And
on.
I edit the podcast.
Yes, and you
I hope
edit
you
it.
edit out the air horn out.
Yeah, you edit
Turn
it
it
all
into like a
out.
dog barking sound, so they're very confused.
And then we also have Corey, who somehow keeps showing up to the show, and we just keep letting him show up. So it's fine.
That's your mistake.
I know. It's funny because I just kept showing up to the show, and now I'm hosting the show because John's off teaching millions of children how to use computers. So
I almost had to host once. and I
Is
was
he?
Pretty scared.
no,
What is his class this
his
week?
class.
What's the class? Is it like how to make your parents mad and get banned from school?
No, I think John's teaching a class. But if we say his name enough, it'll be like Beetlejuice, and he's going to show up and just be like, "What?" So, anyhow.
And then not talk about any of the news that we want to talk about.
Yes, we actually do have a bit of news articles today. We were kind of wading through them, and we found some good stuff, right?
Wading through
got
news,
Jack to
like
talk about.
is wading through news like Wade's brother or something?
I should.
Yes.
That's that's one of my subdomains. Don't talk about that. That's
Yeah.
where
It
my
has
RSS feed is.
so it has like this. It's your brother, but for some reason they have the same first name and different last name. Anyway,
So before we started, we were talking about Jack, and I guess that he is not going to be having any episodes for January, February, or March. So we got to pour one out here. Actually, I don't know what we're gonna do now. What do you?
We're gonna have
I mean,
to
go
step
back
up and
and-
start doing them.
Go back and listen to the first. Go back and listen to the first episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen through all of them.
Oh, you got 3 months to do it. You should be able to if you do like.
Yeah,
3
he's
days.
probably. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's just taking some time off, and that's great. But he may just be recording all of them in 3 months so that he, doesn't have to work the rest of the year. I don't know.
That's gonna be rough. Do you guys listen to anything else? Like, I honestly only have like 2 other cyber podcasts that I listen to. Besides, I listen to us all the time.
I listen to that. It's so good. I listen to myself 3 times. No, actually, I don't really have too many other ones.
Yeah, I mean, on the same
Sorry,
level though. I mean, Jack is next level.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only other one that even comes close, and it's not by a lot, would probably be Malicious Life.
All right.
From Cyber Reason.
Podcast recommendations. If you have any good podcast recommendations, please put them in the chat.
Yeah, give us a link or title or something.
Yeah, and so other people can share in 3
podcast.
months of the Darknet Diaries drought. So they'll have something else to listen to.
Surviving the drought.
We'll do an update every week. It's been 7 days without Darknet Diaries.
It's like a 5-minute video of you just like talking about how you're surviving and stuff. So what else, you guys? What do you guys want to start with here? I think we could start with the Twitter one. I hate to say it, but we keep talking about Twitter, and I think this is the only one for today, unless you guys have something else. But if you didn't see Twitter, and when I say Twitter, Elon is getting a little upset about he's starting
Twitter fits.
Yeah, he's having his Twitter fits. But all right, so let's open this up a little bit more than just about Twitter. But in this case, it started from Twitter. Is that
TV?
Supposedly the App Store may be withholding Twitter from publishing, and so this comes down to kind of the centralization of and control Apple has over the App Store. And now with more than 50% of the U.S. population owning a iOS device, if, for example, Apple were to not allow Twitter to be on the App Store for whatever reason, they could just choose arbitrarily, then this could cut off half of all mobile users, to not being able to use Twitter. But you could apply this to any other thing, and this already has happened with other apps that have refused to pay the 30% tax.
Fortnite.
Yes, Fortnite.
Yeah, I think where this started out is Elon was coming out guns blazing, as he always does, saying we're going to make our own phone, and 30% is super unfair and blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, oh, actually, never mind. Nothing's changing. I'm going to stay here and let them have their 30% cut. Like, he from my perspective, he kind of got the smackdown. It was like, oh, yeah, we hate you, Apple. And then Apple's like, really? Why don't you come over here? And they're like, okay, we're good, Apple. Never mind.
Is the app experience like required that much? Is it that much better? Where, like, honestly, I try to do as little social media as possible. The only reason I have a Twitter is to read IOCs. Are you
talking about whether it's better on iOS versus
Android? Yeah. Like, well, why not just use mobile browser? Like, why does there even need to be an app?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're right. It's just one of those things where, people become so accustomed to the app itself. And, listen, half of America is not going to sell their phone so they can get Twitter. I'm just telling you, right? Like, this is not going to happen, right? And so, but yeah, you're right. You could use a browser, Safari, kind of the workaround, which, by the way, if you ever try to buy something like a book on Amazon.com, you can't buy it through the Amazon app. You have to, do the Safari workaround if you want to buy it mobily, so that they don't have to pay the 30%. So yeah, I don't know.
There is a different experience between a native app on iOS and the web browser experience.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said for that. The other thing I'll say is I actually don't even use the Twitter app. I've been using Tweetbot for iOS for like a decade now.
Yeah, I think
that one
also, and
much
people
more.
are saying this too. The loophole is also like, and this is a lot of apps do this. All the streaming services are the best example. You can't purchase anything in the app. It's only on the app is just like the service, and then you can only purchase through the browser or through other means. So like there is a way around it if they wanted to, but I think that this is more concerned with like, I think it's more about the content moderation policy thing that they require Twitter to have. And I could see them banning all Twitter apps if content moderation isn't there. Because, like, as an example, is there like a 4chan app for iOS? I'm assuming there's not. Like, I'm assuming there isn't one. I'm assuming there isn't any app that would be developed to access 4chan or 8chan on iOS would be killed because it violates their content moderation policy, right? So I'm assuming that's, I don't know. That's my thought on it, but it would be very interesting if Elon hadn't sort of been, I guess, I don't want to say like reined in, I guess is a politically correct way to say it, but
but I can tell you this much: they're not making a phone anytime soon, so you can just probably cut that one out.
Wasn't some of that also right before this? Apple went ahead and cut out like all of its advertising on Twitter, which amounted to a few $1 million, and that's what started the whole row.
Yeah,
and this happened with other apps too. It happened with Fortnite. That was the big one where they totally took a stand and it got removed from both app stores. They tried to make their own app stores and sideload and all that stuff. And I don't know how that's been going. I guess we haven't talked about it in a while, but I guess Fortnite still exists, so it can't be going that badly. But
yeah, no, I mean they kind of the Apple tax is real, and that 30% is something they're really trying to flex their muscle on. But there is a point where it eventually does, possibly become into the monopoly territory. But we'll see how that plays out, right? But anyways, Elon being Elon.
Enough Twitter.
We're done with Twitter.
Let's talk about how my AI photos got generated by Eufy releasing all my photos on the internet.
Oh my!
I know
God.
that one crossed my radar. That one crossed my radar. That's so bad. So, Ryan can find the news article while we wildly speculate.
It's at the very bottom.
What's the title of this one?
Just search Eufy, EUFY. Basically, so this is a recent security researcher. Was it Paul?
Moore.
What's his name?
Moore.
Paul Moore. Is doing the community a huge service and published an awesome, basically disclosure about Eufy cloud cameras, which Eufy is a company that's owned by Anker, which Anker is like a pretty well-known consumer electronics company,
and is a Chinese-based.
So Eufy has a doorbell offering and some other cloud security camera offerings. Which the best part about this is we say cloud, right? If you go to their website and if you go to their marketing materials and everything, it all talks about how it's not in the cloud. It is
there's no cloud.
Nope. There's no cloud. There's no fees.
Anti-cloud.
They're an anti-cloud. They actually market themselves in opposition to the Nests and Googles and other doorbell companies of the world by saying there's no fees, there's no subscriptions or whatever.
It's the best.
So that's how they market themselves. However, turns out, number one, without you ever logging into your doorbell, it is streaming your video to the cloud, which is bad. Number two, which is worse, is it's uploading pictures of you to the cloud, and you can't delete them, and you can't, even if you delete your account, they still exist. So they're just taking pictures from to use, I don't know, for facial recognition.
It even says to use with facial recognition, and then it matches you across different cameras that aren't even yours. So say you and your neighbor have like Eufy cameras, it'll know where you are, and it matches him here, it matches him there. Then you go to your friend's house in Texas, and it matches you over there, and it's tracking you. I'm telling you, tinfoil hats, and then they're using this to.
This is bad. This isn't tinfoil hat. I mean, now it's tinfoil hat because you said deep fakes, but this isn't tinfoil hat. This is a serious privacy violation by this company. And if you use these products, I would highly recommend isolating them in your environment. Do not let them access the internet. The worst one that is brutal is this one right here. There is a cloud URL you can hit. Scroll down a little bit, Ryan. The screenshot will probably do it more justice. There is a cloud URL. This is not something you have to enable. This is not a feature. This is not a checkbox. If you have a Eufy doorbell camera, this is a cloud URL that is based on, first of all, your serial number, and second of all, a randomly generated ID that has no authentication and live streams your camera as a feed.
No,
just permanently.
It's
and you can't just, other than obviously just, turning off the camera, restricting its network access. This has no authentication. So you would need someone's serial number for this, which the serial numbers are relatively safe. Like it's like a GUID basically. So it probably isn't.
Obscurity isn't security, right? Like
well, it should be authenticated, right? But like it is unlikely that, and I'm sure China or Russia are trying to brute force these URLs and determine like what streams they can get.
I doubt China wouldn't need to brute force. Yeah, they already have access.
I guess that's true. They can just go to the source. True.
My first thought is they're using, so China's already well known for facial recognition software and all these huge data lakes and running security through that, right? So my first thought is they're using this to help teach their algorithms more facial recognition, right? Having all this data stuff. That's where the tinfoil hats start coming on.
It's so creepy. Yeah. So basically this is, I mean, I guess the practical way to apply this attack would be if, let's say you went to Best Buy and got the serial numbers of 10 or 15 or however many cameras were there in store, there is a chance that you could then brute force the randomly generated ID with the serial number, and then you could just access whoever buys that camera's feed in perpetuity. So pretty scary. I don't think it's going to be feasible to brute force them for every customer, but it's spooky. It's a huge privacy violation.
The big thing is they just kind of lied about what it was they were doing. And that's kind of like, that was really kind of like the big highlight. There's other companies who are also making cameras that are also using the cloud. They're also talking about the fact that, it's local storage, but, as the, what kind of came out was that you obviously could hit that live URL, and that they're uploading the images of faces. And it looks like the reason that they're doing that, and this is some speculation here, is, cameras nowadays, you can buy some, these different models that do object identification. So some of the most common ones would be a vehicle or a human or a pet, right? Now, they don't necessarily differentiate.
That's BS, by the way.
It's like machine learning stuff.
Yeah. It's BS. It's BS to imply that you need the cloud to do that.
No, you don't.
There are many examples of devices that do it on
That's what I'm saying. So most of the devices nowadays do on device. Okay,
right.
So they have that's already been trained on how to identify a human versus a car, right? And that identification isn't super advanced. It's good enough, right? But what they're doing on top of that is they're saying, well, listen, we not only can identify a person, we can identify whether it is a family member or not a family member, right? Mm-hmm. And I believe that is where they were sending that data off so that they could, help train the model,
Yes, that's the feature, right?
That's the feature.
That's what Dave said is features,
yes.
Right? But it's like, it comes down to, number one, the marketing of it being marketed as no cloud, privacy, self-host, whatever, it's all yours, and it not being that. And then number two, the response to this was not exactly great. Like the response from Eufy was basically like, no, we like Ralph said, oh no, we need this for our features.
I didn't see this response yet. I saw, and the other ones didn't have this full written response. There was them responding saying that the VLC thing wasn't a thing, and then whatever article did it actually showed, it still is a thing. So but here they're actually saying they're still in regulation to GDPR.
So this is a straight up lie, right?
That's going to be huge violations and a big old chunk of money, right? Like,
so as a developer, I can see how they were like what they were thinking, right?
Yeah.
So you need to access that you need to access some kind of RTSP stream, right? And so when you open up the app, right, it has to do a handoff, and they're sharing that,
So they actually didn't address that. They didn't address the streams at all. They actually, in that statement, they only addressed the images, and they basically said the images are basically like Ralph said, this is a push notification. They need an image to include as the thumbnail for the push notification. That was their explanation. They didn't give any explanation of the just open RTSP streams.
The more annoying part about this is that I'm sure if you were to put in the form and ask, hey, can I get the RTSP stream to use with something else? They're like, no, it doesn't exist. And the whole time it existed, right? Like it's like a blatant lie, right?
Right. Exactly. So the statement they gave Mac Rumors didn't even address the open stream issue, which is like arguably the much more pressing issue, because it's just the images is bad enough. Because, like, to be fair, those don't need to be open. They were, and by the way, I'd like to layer this. I don't know if we explained this. This was HTTP. This is just clear text. This wasn't even encrypted. This wasn't like.
By the way, a lot of other there are other vendors that use real time or RTSP secure, which exist already. And it is encrypted, right? So it's over TLS.
It doesn't even this isn't even RTSP. This is an image. This is an image that they're using in the. Yeah, this isn't even the video stream. Encrypting the video stream, that's nice. This isn't even that. This is like sending an image file to an S3 bucket over HTTP. That's what they're doing, basically.
In the 9 to 5 Google article that you posted, right? It says that an Anker PR manager confirmed that it's not possible to start a stream and watch live footage using a third-party player such as VLC.
And
but
then people did it. But then people did it.
And then The Verge does it right then and there. It's like, here you go. Like,
So that's where it gets, I think the first part, like Ralph was saying about the notifications and like, that is a feature that I guess that one you can explain that one away. Start encrypting it first of all. But I do understand, like, yes, you do have to give me an image that you're sending to my phone saying who's at my door. I understand. But also, you don't need to, the whole live stream thing that's where it gets into the, tinfoil hat. Why, they're claiming it doesn't exist. It clearly does exist. Maybe they don't know it exists. Maybe it's undocumented, but it seems very like, oh, well, the government asked to see all the streams, so we did it. Sorry.
That's, is it just malpractice or like them not doing stuff properly? Probably. But is there malicious actions that involved in that? Maybe I don't want to
because here's the thing. We know Anker has this data. We know they have the serial numbers and we know they have the random IDs. So there's theoretically, we know that it is possible for them to stream anyone's cameras continuously for as long as this was until it was disclosed.
And another note, who actually uses these cameras? Do you know anyone who does? Because I asked around and I don't.
So I have a couple of the non-doorbells. I don't know. I actually have. I'm gonna connect one up and see if it does the same thing. But
I have bought these in the past as like really small ones to like ad hoc, right? Like set it up because they have
their
Wi-Fi,
HomeKit secure
like
video.
$30 or something, right? And you could just like set it up if you need like to. I would put it up where like the kids were playing, right? So I could see like their play area or whatever. I don't have them anymore, and not because of this article. I'd gotten rid of them, but yeah. So
I would say other people have said this in the chat, and it seems to be just kind of the general sentiment. I know Ralph does this. I may have been too lazy to do this in the past, but now I'm definitely going to do it. Isolate these things. Put them on their own VLAN or put them in their own network. Yeah, to restrict them. Do not allow them internet access. I will say, if it's a Nest device and you don't allow internet access, it's not even going to work.
I know.
I guess either do that and do it all yourself. Like I personally use the Unify cameras, and I really like that. Ralph does like self-hosted. He has like 3 hours of home lab discussion for you if you want to get into that. But
which I think
basically
that could be webcasts.
I know. I think I'm going to do a camera webcast. So
that's what your 300 terabytes of storage are used for. Is just your video cam footage.
And subscribe. Yeah. But I think it's like it's one of those things where if you are going to choose a cloud provider to do this, if you don't want to, self-host it or go with it, because the self-hosted are probably cheaper long term, but are expensive upfront. Like the Unify stuff is not cheap upfront. But I mean, choose your providers wisely. With a cloud, when someone puts cloud in their marketing materials and it's a Chinese company, that data is potentially. I mean, it's like, do you want the U.S. government reading it or do you want the Chinese government reading it? You make the decision because one government's going to read it one way or another.
That's how I think about stuff nowadays. It's kind of crazy.
The good thing is I was gonna say the U.S. government already knows everything about us because we're U.S. citizens.
Well, it's a good transition to the FCC one. That's the next article.
Sure, let's dive into that. What you got?
So the FCC faces long road in stripping Chinese tech from U.S. telecoms. So this just goes back to, of course, the Huawei, ZTE, and all those Chinese network providers who, come to find out, actually have a decent foothold within the U.S. telecommunications network. I think it says a little bit further down that they think there's around 8,000 devices throughout the network, which I thought like we banned them off completely. But I guess they only ban them if you're using FCC money to purchase them. If you're using your own private money, then you couldn't buy them. So this new law, if I'm reading it correctly, prohibits any more sales of Chinese network telecommunications equipment within the United States, and then is starting to reevaluate how they're going to replace it. So just more banning of these Chinese tech, pretty much.
Yeah, so it's funny because I assume almost all the tech is manufactured in China. It's just whether it's running Chinese software or not, or like how do they actually draw these lines? Like, is it the manufacturer, specifically Huawei stuff, is banned, or is it like actually all made in China is banned?
Whoever profits, banned. That's it, right? If they don't want to give, like, this just goes back to like global economics. They don't want to give China just that extra foothold. We rather support the American companies rather than Chinese.
But they're not. Aren't they still made in the same factory?
Yes, but they're supporting the Americans a little bit more than just all China. You know, like
it's like instead of them taking advantage of slave labor, we're going to take advantage of it.
Exactly. As long as the U.S.
American
profits,
stuff American designed or still Chinese designed?
So I think it's.
I mean, it's American designed, but then they actually outsource it to India.
Well, so this goes back to just like the same with the iPhone, right? They're all made in China, but you know, Apple designs them and creates all the software here in the United States, and overall the social influence is whether they would put a backdoor in, right? And who would that be for? Would it be for the U.S. government or for China, right?
So it's about the manufacturer, not about the country of origin.
Yes. I mean, because, like, you know, I guess they could, you know, implement some chip on a bunch of devices, but I mean, you know, this would be discovered during the QA process, right? So,
and by the way, you mentioned the whole Apple and China thing. I heard, actually, I read it. I don't think we had the article in here, but I heard that Apple's actually moving out of China where possible, not because of slave labor and exploitative practices that they've done there for years, not because of all the profit they've made from that, but because they're doing COVID lockdowns and that's impacting their supply chain.
Yes.
So it's like, it's not even that Apple's trying to be more ethical. It's that they're trying to get rid of COVID lockdowns ruining their supply chain.
They're actually,
I think they've been moving slowly, very slowly, but they've been showing signs for a while that they realize they're too dependent on China.
They've been trying to diversify their production facilities, and they have, like you're saying, they've been trying to move for a while. Right.
Yeah, Requiem to 2099's comment is perfect. Don't support an evil Chinese company. Support an evil American company that contracts in manufacturing to all of the same factors. Yes, exactly. That is the FCC's official stance.
That is
better of two evils, right? You gotta pick one. You want.
Why let someone else benefit from their slave labor when we can make shareholder value with their slave labor?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So, Apple's been moving out of China, and then obviously all the lockdowns and all the other fun stuff. And but the bigger one, I think that this was talking about the FCC specifically, is that they're worried about critical infrastructure, and I think cellular is, you know, and the telephone system is part of that critical infrastructure. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, maybe more than our iPhones, even though arguably speaking, same thing, right? But So
yeah, I mean that was what one of the viewers said, is basically like they were super early to the market with 5G stuff. So a lot of people, when they went to upgrade, that was the only option available. So.
Yeah, and they were cheap, I'm sure, because, you know, that's what they do.
It's subsidized by government surveillance.
I know. It's way cheaper when the government gives you money to build it so that they can surveil other people.
Which, by the way, they are paying for this stuff to be replaced. That's actually the biggest surprise.
Yes.
Right? The FCC is actually shelling out money to have this stuff replaced, right?
They're trying to figure out how much money that's going to be, as well as, like, do they have the money to do that? Like, it's going to be a big amount. Okay,
can we talk about how we need to do this for security products? Like, how come Cisco doesn't?
Billion.
How come Cisco doesn't have like a buyback program for like ASAs? Shouldn't they be like, please, for the love of God, don't use an ASA. Like, we will buy it from you. How much do you want for it? Like, name your price.
One like, snort calendar.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
And the love of security For the love.
Yeah, that should be what we do every time. So here's how you do pen testing now. When we get money from our clients to do a pen test, we take a little bit off the top and then we use it to buy them replacement gear for stuff that's We're like, oh, by the way, this $3,000 expense was because we bought you a new firewall, so please replace this thing.
How often do you guys go after network equipment?
I mean, in a meaningful way, beyond just logging in with the shell and being like, I could turn off your VLANs and screw you over. Not much. I mean, it's pretty common. Like the most common thing is like file share, like Snaffler or whatever, discover network credentials on a share and then go and they work on networking devices most often. You log into the web management interface. You're like, I don't want to touch this, but it would be bad if I did.
I think the networking devices are kind of interesting though, because if you do find some way to exploit them, that would be great for like long-term persistence, right? Because that's the one
just
device
port mirror to AWS or something.
That's the one device they're never turning off, right? Like that's the last thing they're gonna touch, you know.
Yeah, and it can read all the traffic, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of like opportunities there, but a lot of what we end up doing is just avoiding that because we don't have any long-term persistence plans and all the kind of ramifications. Or if we do mess something up, maybe it's on accident, maybe everything's would normally work and it just didn't work that time, and then the whole network goes down. Like that's the one call you just don't have.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's spooky, but I guess hopefully, I mean, it makes sense at the very least. I mean,
China's
it does seem it's kind of like TikTok, where it's like, I don't know. Did we put that article in here that's like TikTok is banned if you're a South Dakota employee? Is that in here?
Yeah, that's in here. That's like the one I didn't read. Yeah.
It was a South Dakota news article. We got to cover it because it's one time.
This is like a local.
Where did I put that thing?
It's under political.
Wherever you're scrolling, it's in the opposite direction of that.
Exactly.
There you go. You just passed it. You just passed it.
Well, here's
it's probably the one that has the giant TikTok logo.
Yeah,
I think there's like two of them that have the giant TikTok logo.
Oh.
So so the article is
not safe for work.
TikTok is not safe for work if you work for the South Dakota government. So this article applies to approximately 14 people that work for the South Dakota government.
Hey, it's 16.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, the governor banned TikTok, the website, and the app, basically for all government agencies, employees, and contractors on state devices. That's probably a key. In a press release, they said it was a response to growing national security threat on behalf data gathering on behalf of the CCP. So honestly, kind of ahead of the game as far as my perspective here. I mean, didn't the federal government, did they do this or were they just debating it?
They've been debating it. I believe that the intelligence community's been pretty much raising the flag on this for a little bit, right?
Yep.
Like, hey guys, hey, we should stop.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, so we made the joke. This is probably like 50 people that are actually working for the South Dakota government and use state-owned devices. But I will say, like cops and stuff like that, it's actually probably good for everyone. And also, I do think this has bigger ramifications because when people see press releases like this, or even in like the grassroots, awareness of security, if you're a random cop in like Waco County, South Dakota or whatever, and you're like, oh, I can't have TikTok on my phone, this is going to impact you. Like, you're going to be like, why? Why is this banned? It's like, I feel like you're going to think about it and be like, and talk to your family or whatever, like, Logan, don't be using that TikTok. It's banned by the government. Or maybe they'll be like, do use the TikTok because it's banned and that's infringing on our rights. So
let me watch the TikTok on your phone. I'm not allowed to have it on mine.
Yeah. I got a burner TikTok.
You can have a burner phone for TikTok.
Can you record me dancing?
TikTok, yeah. Can you record your algorithm sucks. All I'm getting is like disabled TikTok.
Yeah. Well, TikTok bad.
So it's going to be, instead of kids asking parents whether they have games on their phone, it's going to be parents asking kids if they have TikTok on their phone.
And then the kids are going to be like, what? Why don't my parents
always
that
algorithm is so good. It just knows exactly what you want and just feeds it to you. And I was like,
why doesn't it feed me the video on how to remove TikTok?
Because it's feeding you too many lab porn or lab equipment like Craigslist ads for
cable. Yeah, it's like why you should go fiber. It's like clearly generated by an AI.
Yeah, it piqued my interest significantly.
All right, Mike, you haven't picked up. You haven't spoken much. You pick an article and rage about it.
Oh, how about the never before seen malware nuking data in Russia?
Never.
Malware nuking data in Russia.
You don't hear about that too often.
Sounds like it's Ukraine.
Did they forget that? What was the virus? Was it Lockbit or one of the ones that had like the check for the Cyrillic language pack, and if it was there, it wouldn't execute?
They actually talk about it in their Shamoon, which wreaked havoc on Aramco. It's similar. Kaspersky said it discovered this whole thing by Cry Wiper in the last few months. And it's just another thing that, how often do we hear about the actual malware that's affecting Russia or China for that matter?
Never.
Everything is US or US ally based in Europe or what have not.
So did we write this then? Like to flip the script, did we?
Yeah, I mean, its target is like definitely small, though, right? Like
reading through offices. It, Cry Wiper sounds very similar to something that's been going up against Ukraine. So it sounds like it's a tit for tat thing. Oh, we found yours. We've rejiggered it. We're going to shove it right back into your face.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I feel like if you were developing malware, wouldn't you like make sure that you couldn't be hit by the same malware, or would you because all your labs you need them to be vulnerable to test?
That's the ultimate question, isn't it?
It's really a big ploy. It's Russia wiping their own malware. They're wiping all their court systems so then they can take all of their prisoners and then throw them into the war.
So okay,
are we going back into the tin hats again?
Yeah.
So someone asked what it does, Hoax Paragon. What does it actually do? So let's inform the readers. It's scroll up a little bit, Ryan. The description is right there. A little bit more, just a tad more. A Trojan masquerades as a ransomware and extorts money from the victim. Oh, too much.
You've gone too far.
Now I see where you are.
Okay. Apologies for audio visitors. Imagine someone scrolling around a web page. Basically, it's a Trojan. It masquerades as a ransomware, extorts money from the victim for decrypting data. It does not actually encrypt the data, but purposefully destroys it. So it's like a ransomware, but I guess if you pay, you're not going to get your decryption keys.
So it just straight deletes.
Isn't that more virus than ransomware?
Well, it's a wiper.
It's a wiper. That's the
Cry
new
wiper.
Cool way to call it.
They don't mention if anyone actually paid too. That's the best part. If someone actually did.
I mean, I did.
You paid?
They pay and then they track down the Bitcoins and it's going to like their neighbor in Russia. They're like, dang it.
No way. See, that's the thing. Russia, that's why they had all those like detections, whether it had the Russian language pack and all this other stuff, because they know better. They know if they did that in their own country that, they'd get arrested and
I mean, right? It is interesting.
They don't just get arrested.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just trying to be nice here. I'm just trying.
What they do is they get Ralph. They get recruited. They get recruited, and now they have to write malware. So.
Well, I think recruited. I think is a weird way of saying forced to do labor for.
Forcibly
yeah, but it's
recruited.
like C++ labor.
Yeah,
it's not
it
like
could be worse labor.
rocks.
You're definitely right.
Well, it could be C. At least they gave it C++.
I mean.
Wiper, no wiping. That's good. Yeah. Cry wiper, no wiping.
Yeah, if it wipes all of the Windows directories, does that make it a window wiper?
Yeah.
I think it does.
Yes.
Also, it makes it performance improvement too.
I know. It'll actually make your Windows 11 faster.
Just drag the computer icon to the recycle icon.
What if that actually just deleted your computer? Like if that actually works, that'd be pretty funny.
I mean, it worked for me, but maybe it was the malware I had installed.
Yeah, I think it was the malware, man.
Maybe.
The Politico one is like my favorite of the day.
Favorite of the day.
Yeah, because I like the politics. I can't find it now.
What? It's probably
it's under
politics?
It's under nation state on nation state action, which is
hot. So hot.
Lessons from the Russian cyber war in Ukraine. So this one goes over. I'll wait till you click.
Do we publish these?
I don't see
do we
political
publish
here.
this
Politico
article?
here.
Lesson. It's that one right there. Lessons on. Oh, it's economics.
It's the
my bad. I was reading it. They have a branch article. I think this is paywalled, but you can get past it if you go.
We don't know how to get past it, but there probably is ways to get past it.
It pretty much goes over like the entire cyber campaign of what the Russians did to Ukraine, and then several people saying that they kind of lacked. But there's the argument is cyber war actually efficient, or did the Russians hold back because, of course, they didn't want to nuke the entire network because they figured their military was just going to steamroll them, and they wanted the network still up.
Which, John always brings up the example of like when we invaded Iran, we kept the telecoms up so we could use them. Iraq, sorry.
We invaded Iran? Oh, crap.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yes, sir.
Did we?
Oh, gosh.
But it goes into some good detail about all the attacks that occurred, and as well as the Russian pitfalls and stuff they didn't do too well. It's an interesting read.
It's a good read.
I don't know how political you guys want to get. So
I mean, I think The Economist is generally pretty neutral, so it can't be that bad.
They have a lot of what's the English based CIA? GCHQ? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It has a lot of quotes from them. If anyone wants to do a good read. I'm not.
Just imagine a really good article that we can't pay, that we didn't pay to access.
It's so good that we
got 2 paragraphs of it.
Read it all.
Okay, British NSA. Thank you, Rick. Yes, that's what I meant. We could shift to the DHIS trying to focus on Lapsus. I don't know why, but
they're gonna catch him.
They already did, didn't they? They caught 2 people. I thought they caught 2 kids in the UK.
Well, it's kind of like a ring, right? And
yeah,
they have to keep squashing through them.
Why do you think they would focus on Lapsus? I just feel like that's just a weird group.
I mean, maybe they're the easier one to go after,
because they're all British.
It's the bottom one in political.
Who organized these articles, Ryan?
Ryan.
It was me. And now I can't. It's like when you can't read your own handwriting. That's what's going on right here.
I can't even listen to my own podcasts.
Did you know? I didn't know about the Cyber Safety Review Board. Did anybody else know that was a thing?
No, what is that?
I guess it's a review board for cyber safety. Like, Department of Homeland Security announces Friday that the Cyber Safety Review Board.
Cyber Safety Review Board. If you're on this board, please get in touch. I'd love to hear what kind of stuff you're doing.
I thought it was based more for the IoT stuff or ICS stuff, because I know that they'd made a big announcement about some changes, and CISA had mentioned a whole bunch of stuff recently about some new protocols coming through. We heard the White House protocol stuff. I think it's part of all of that.
I just googled myself over here, and we got a Cyber Safety Review Board. It's CISA. This is the CISA website. I will link it. Basically says it was established pursuant to President Biden's Executive Order 14,028. Wow, he's done a lot of executive orders. We're already up to 14,000 on improving the nation's cybersecurity. The board serves a deliberate function to review major cyber events and make concrete recommendations. The board's construction is unique. Wow, this sounds like it's actually a 2x4. And provides a direct path to the Secretary of Homeland Security and the President. So I guess it's basically like, hey, when things get hacked, you tell the President and he tells you whether to go catch Lapsus or Lapis. Lapis? It has an S in it. Lapsus $?
Yeah.
Let's look up any review members. Okay, here's the board. Here's the board members. I don't see John Strand on here.
Oh. It's not real then. Take it off. We're not talking about it anymore.
So Chris Novak, the co-founder and managing director of Verizon Threat People. There's some Unit 42 Palo Alto Networks people. There's FBI people. The CIO for the DoD's in there. It's very like high level. Who's actually doing all the work is the real question. Dmitry Alperovich, the co-founder and chairman of former CTO of CrowdStrike. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's kind of cool to be like, when things get hacked, tell the president.
Perfect.
Sounds like someone who's overemployed to me. Definitely got multiple jobs going. How do I get on this review board?
But like, I guess we've done the background, so they're doing. There is a press release that was the actual news article. Cyber Safety Review Board to conduct second review on Lapsus. Looks like they're doing another pass. They're like the first review. The first review we screwed it up. We got to do another one.
After they leaked Grand Theft Auto, they're like, "Oh, we got to do another one." This is clearly this is a threat. If Grand Theft Auto, I feel like
they're kind of tooting their own horn here because the first quote of the article is, "We've quickly established ourselves as an innovative and enduring institution in the cybersecurity ecosystem." Have you? Because we're all cybersecurity people, and none of us had heard of you as far as 5 minutes ago. So I guess it's public-private initiative. Blah blah blah. Why are they targeting Lapsus? Lapsus has targeted the most sophisticated companies on the planet. I feel like they're kind of like doing, it's like they're like overlapping homework here. They're like, well, we have to do this at our company, so why don't we do this for the government thing?
I feel like Lapsus definitely isn't like a low-hanging fruit, but they're definitely like a little bit stranger on the threat actor board, right? Where they're not a ransomware group per se. I'm sure they could be if they tried. They're not necessarily a nation state. But they do like Uber. They do all these little weird hacks that like I would almost say is for like the lulz type of deal, which reminds me of
lulz.
Right? Yeah. Reminds me of what was the one where's the guy with the wine glass? Not Evil Corp. Someone who knows threat actors. Man, you guys don't. It's like the fancy dude. He's got a hat on. He's got a monocle, and he's got a wine glass. And that was a threat actor group, and they all got arrested. But
I don't know. We're all red teamers over here. At least
I know.
Me and Ralph. I am a big bad guy. I have no idea.
My question is
Mr.
Did they go
Peanut.
ahead and take? Did they take this report and run it through Turnitin to make sure that they didn't?
I don't know. Honestly, I think they kind of copied someone else's homework because they even said it's the second review. So they're like, we're doing it. At the
end of the article, it talks about an analysis from Microsoft published in March. That's why I'm wondering.
It was lulzsec. It was lulzsec. All right.
So okay,
they did it for the lulz.
So. I mean, it says the CSRB's first review focused on vulnerabilities discovered in late 2021 with the widely used Log4j vulnerability, which it published. It published including 19 actionable recommendations for government and industry. They don't have regulatory powers, and they're not an enforcement agency. So it sounds like they're basically just like, how can we get paid to do what we were already going to do anyway, which is to review Lapsus? Oh, we can use the government.
Perfect.
They needed more money is what it really comes down to.
Yeah, if you're a member of this board, let us know what your salary is. No, John is interested. No, I'm just kidding.
Can we talk about the most shocking story of today?
Oh, no.
What? Are you saying that Mr. Peanut is actually a threat actor? Is that?
No. So this one, after you read the article, you'll quickly be shocked.
Oh, yes, this one's
Rackspace, I guess, has had an incident with their
another one
exchange services.
Okay, hold on. Which one of you guys did this? Because
John's not on today.
Which one of you did this? Because John said you should. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, there has been an incident impacting. This is how they put it. We've become aware of an issue impacting our hosted exchange environment. We're proactively running around and with like our hair's on fire, and we're gonna figure out what's going on here. But there could be a security incident. All right, you guys.
Well, it says here we proactively powered down and disconnected. Okay, so that is intense. That is intense. Yes. So like, okay, someone is like, take it down, unplug it, disconnect it.
Yeah. Somebody literally, they were like, throw it in the trash. Like this thing is literally nuclear waste, right? Like, so yeah, they got exchanged, which is
got exchanged.
Okay, let's show of hands. Who thinks this was a 0 day? None of us think Rackspace can patch their own hosted exchange environment. I guess that basically says it all. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of Exchange vulnerabilities, right?
Yeah, there's a ton. There's been recent Exchange vulnerabilities. There's just lots of reasons why Exchange is bad, or very targeted as well. Additionally, Microsoft has kind of been like, you know what, Office 365 guys, like we gave up on continuing to keep this going, right? And in fact, Rackspace is accelerating their migration to Office 365 for customers.
Who would have guessed?
It doesn't say that. Does it actually say that?
Yes, it says
they are doing that.
Impacting customers free access to Microsoft Exchange Plan 1 licenses on 365.
Yes.
Okay, wait. Here is the real theory. This is the John hot take. Let me put on my John Strand hat. This is a false flag operation, so they don't have to keep supporting Exchange. I'm gonna leak it. I'm gonna leak it on the news. This is just because someone at Rackspace is like, we hate Exchange. How are we gonna get rid of this? Oh, I know. Just claim it was hacked.
Oh my god.
And Cyber Threat Hunter. Oh no, we've been hacked. What do? Manual says Alt plus F4.
No, then first disconnect the power, then disconnect the network.
This has merit cord, because it goes back to your idea before where you just buy them new hardware to move them along. This is what they're doing. They're buying them Exchange to move them out of, buying 365 to move them out of Exchange.
You have to read this article though. There's a couple here. They're like, there's no sign of the service coming back online. They received accounts and incidents from customers trying to access Rackspace support. They are not pretty. The way they have handled this has been horrible. No support, no email because yours is broken. Nothing. Who knows?
Yeah, how are they going to email you? Your email's broken. Yeah. Okay. So
I called the support line and held and listened to lousy music for 3 hours and 14 minutes and 19 seconds.
And they
finally had to terminate the call. Wow, why would you advertise that you wasted that much time? So, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and say my official stance on this is like an Elon level plan to get rid of Exchange as a service offering that Rackspace has. This is like we hate supporting Exchange. Let's just pretend like it got hacked and move everyone to Office 365.
Oh my god. So I had an incident with a family member who had their account compromised at GoDaddy, and they're using Office 365, right? And it was just credential stuffing, so on and so forth, right? Nothing too complex. But even GoDaddy had already moved off of their own hosted Exchange, right? About it looks like about a year and a half ago. They had moved away from it too. So it's like everyone.
If you're trailing behind GoDaddy, you really gotta.
I know, dude. If you're the bar is already at the floor, okay, and you're behind them, I have so many questions.
Rackspace has been hacked before, haven't they? Or was that a different hosting provider that I'm thinking of?
No, they have, but I think it was a while ago. It was like
a
very long time ago, at least as far as cybersecurity hackings go, right? It wasn't in the last couple of years.
Here's another conspiracy theory. Microsoft did it. No.
Microsoft just has a bot.
Microsoft is like, listen, we're so sick of publishing freaking patches for Exchange. We're just going to hack everyone that's still using it, so they have to turn it off.
I think the one thing that I fear for Rackspace's customers about is the loss of emails, especially if they're in a field, a vertical, where they have to retain those emails for 7 years, and now they can't even get yesterday's email back up.
Yeah. Oh, I can import from Exchange to Office 365. It can't be that hard, right? As long as the data is still there.
Are you offering consulting services, Corey?
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you what. Here's the deal. For $500 an hour, you email me and I'll do whatever you want me to do in Office 365, and it's not that hard.
All right.
Hey, in other news, Rackspace email is half off right now.
No way. Are you serious? Black Friday sale? Is it?
It's extended. It's an extended sale.
You mean half
extended
offline.
sale while the threat actors
I meant half offline, guys. I'm sorry. There's a little confusion there. But
hold on. Do they have half off security?
Yeah, that's everything comes for a price. Was there any other articles you guys want to talk about? I think we're almost right up at the hour here.
No, we have 25 seconds. Quick, someone go.
Go.
The robots are killing people in San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right. We'll bring up. Yeah. All right. So
No. They're just allowed to kill people.
they're allowed to kill people now.
That's the next step.
They always were able to. Now they've been given the kill code, right?
So wait, is this just a Blade Runner? Like, so are we just getting into like they're trying to make the Blade Runner cinematic universe happen in San Fran versus LA, or what?
Yeah. I think this is really about who's going to have the closest kind of like RoboCop scene, right?
Oh my god.
So yeah, this is a real
my first
thing.
thought is someone getting
Email
shot
your
in
supervisors.
the, in the thing.
Yeah. So okay. So we are joking, but this is a real thing where they're trying to vote to add the ability to use deadly force by robots.
I think that they already voted. Now I could totally be wrong.
They already,
but
They already voted. And
Yeah.
They voted.
Okay.
They voted.
voted
Yes.
that.
Okay.
So
So
for those who are unaware, these robots are typically used to gather intelligence in some kind of like high risk scenario, right? Somebody holding someone else hostage or other things like that.
I've seen RoboCop. Yeah.
Yes. So, well, this is in the real world too. And these robots, whether they be, however they are flying, however, it doesn't matter. Just they help gather information so that they can make decisions on the ground to safely, hopefully, end the.
But you have to put guns on them because we're all 12-year-olds at heart.
But now they're adding weapons to these robots so that they can take out the, enemy.
No robot manufacturer, especially nowadays, is going to allow any weapons attached to their robots. Like,
what are you talking about?
Boston Dynamics has already said, like, no.
I mean, there's one company that allows them, and that's called whoever makes the Predator drone.
General Atomic,
General Atomic or General Dynamics,
General Dynamics.
Like, this is basically like, we want the power to drone strike like we do for ISIS, but now we're targeting our own citizens.
I just imagine one of the little dogs running at you and it explodes. Just like
all I can think about though is literally RoboCop and just how that whole movie kind of played.
Honestly, though, the real most surprising part of this is that they had to get some kind of approval to even do it. I figured it would just be default allowed. Like,
it's San Francisco, right? It's literally the max lockdown. So like,
this. You know why they got the approval
in Texas? The robots are actually already killing people.
In Texas, they have like a robot battle royale area that's just like, program your robot. If it kills 10 robots, you get it for free.
I could just see from a legal perspective, it could be like, this was, the city killed so-and-so and they didn't need to. And, you guys didn't have approval to do this.
Yeah. So this is extremely opposed by the EFF.
Yeah. Yes.
And basically their logic, which I totally agree with, is essentially if you combine together this level of technology and then you make it a high tension scenario where people aren't necessarily making great decisions in the first place, and you make it easy to press a button that says, kill or whatever. Now we have it's a very combustible combination of factors. So it's just
they're using the AI pictures facial recognition they got from Eufy to target you.
That's how they know it's you, because you didn't come home last night.
They see it's like, oh, robot, get that guy. It's like,
yeah. I mean, political opinions aside, like whether you think that the police are great or bad or whatever, I think there are some like published studies that show that drone operators don't fully they don't comprehend exactly what they're doing. Like there's less remorse, there's less of like a personal impact and judgment call that goes in, because it just bypasses that human element of like looking at someone in the eye and being like, are you good or bad? So when you're dealing with like a camera and, AI, and you're sitting there with a button that just says like dispose or whatever, I don't know what it says. It's just it's a bad recipe. It's a bad recipe. And I agree with that. I'm shocked that it approved, but I guess I'm not that shocked because, who put those people in office? They're probably pro.
This just reminds me of like how like the lethal injection, right? The companies who make the chemicals for lethal injection won't sell it anymore to the states who want to do lethal injection.
So they're like suspending it, right?
Correct. Yeah, they can't. How are you going to perform it if you can't? You have to buy. The state then has to buy it illegally. Like, I would think there's definitely going to be a robot manufacturer who does build one, but I could also see states going then like, oh, we'll just go put a gun or whatever. They're going to have to build a robot and then get the licensing for it to kill people, which I think is going to be a little bit weird. I think in future political sense. Like, do you think California is going to want killer robots built in their state?
I mean, no.
They're definitely going to have to be made in Florida. Like, I'm telling you right now.
Texas and Florida is going to take that bid, though.
Killer robot manufacturers.
I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say some state is going to be like,
Yeah,
I'm about to.
They're gonna love it.
I'm about to make.
I can see Texas.
Yeah, Texas is number one. All right. Well, on that beautiful and very nice note that we just had there, I think that is it for today. Yeah. So appreciate everybody showing up, and we really appreciate it. Smash that like button, ring the bell, and other things that I don't know.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Subscribe.
I want to get on the Sands podcast.
This
list
is sponsored by something.
Tell everybody about us.
Yeah, it's sponsored by Anti-Siphon, where we have really cool training. I have a class there. A lot of other really cool people who have classes there that you should definitely go check out. And we will see you guys next week. And yeah, so follow us. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, all.
Bye.